Hello there. How's it going? I am doing something a little different. Well, I shouldn't say different. I've done this before, but I'm trying Twitch, uh, live streaming on Twitch right now. So just as an experiment. And sorry, I've been just had something to eat. So welcome. Happy Friday. Hopefully you weren't impacted too much by the great Windows crash of 2024. Kind of out of the scope of this channel, but you've probably heard about it or maybe even been impacted by it. Anyhow, today I'm going to go over, we're going to look at Siril, the development version of Siril for something a little different. And we're going to also maybe do a little live photo processing, just perhaps. It's been cloudy and probably will be cloudy, or at least cloudy enough that astrophotography is pointless for the next few days here where I am. So I may have some time to focus on doing some videos. That would be it's been a while. So let's get to it. Let me see. I've got a few different windows going on here, and I'm trying to get it all situated. Great. Okay. It's interesting because the latency is actually pretty good right now. Twitch is only like 2 seconds behind, and which I can see why people use it for streaming games. But YouTube's only about 5 or 6 seconds behind, so not too bad. So, excuse me. So the problem I ran into is the development version of Siril. You have to compile yourself from the source code. The source code's publicly available. It turned out that was a bit more of a challenge than I was willing to deal with on my Mac. And so my laptop's over here on the other side. And over here, I have a little, I can't really show it easily, but I have a little Linux computer over here. And that's what I use to compile and compile the source code for Siril. So let's take a look at that. Let's see. So this is actually a first time for me to do this. But I've got Firefox up and running here, and I thought I'd just start with kind of the release notes, just to kind of go over what is in the new version. And the development versions show up as Siril 1.3, but I think the release is going to be 1.4 because the changelog has 1.4. And if you scroll down, the production releases are like 1.2. So the latest is 1.2.3, I think. But it looks like there's a 1.2.4 that's in the works that fixes some issues. But so, pardon me, I need to take a drink. And I've discussed some of this on a previous version. We were looking at it, but I actually have the code running now, so we can take a look, and we can do more in depth kind of looking at the code if you want in future videos, or if you're watching this after the fact and you have some questions, some things you want to look at, I'd be happy to look at that. Hello, Wiley Site. How's it going? Long time. As an aside, the web interface for the Seestar kind of automation program, the Seestar ALP API, the web front end has been kind of getting some new functionality recently, and Wiley Site actually just added a new offline mode. So if you start up the web interface without your Seestars being on, because before you had to have like the API running, you had to have the front end running and your Seestars running, or you get errors. Now you can bring up just the front end, and then you can go, you can create your schedule, and then when ahead of time, so like say during the day, and then when you're ready, you can bring up the API, your Seestar, and then say online, and it'll apply all those changes. It'll actually do the schedule then, which is pretty cool. There's also been some work. There's some work in progress to make it easier. There's a self-contained executable for the Seestar ALP and Seestar the web interface, but it's a little bit behind. So another contributor. I mean, I'm just a contributor to the project. I didn't create it, but another contributor is updating the executable. So when that comes out, I might do a little video about that. Basically, how you can set it up from scratch without too much effort. Because like right now, if you don't use the executable, you end up having to like install developer tools, which if you're a developer that or in information technology, it's okay. But if you're not, then it's kind of a little complicated, if not fully daunting. So just kind of looking over, I mean, some of these things are, I'm not sure how significant some of them are. Add comparison star list, object by their common name, intensity, added intensity profiling function, added internal plotting tool to be used with profiling and light curves. And I think that might be something that I don't know how. I'm sure there's people who use it, but I'll if it's the feature I think it is, I'll show that in a little bit. New init for kind of the star star modeling, kind of brightness modeling. Git repository. This one I'm kind of curious about. Git script repository integration, because right now you have to download the scripts and put them in a directory, and I wonder if you don't have to do it with this feature. Fixed crash, loss of date OBS, reduce verbosity, set up monolithic glade. So yeah, there's a lot of features in here, a lot of new features, which is why it's going to be a new major release. Wavelets, added color management to photometric color calibration, and SPCC as a new method. I should probably take a look at that. I need to make a note of some of the features we should explore. Photometric color calibration, and then added SSL, blah, better registrations. One of the more significant ones I'm going to get to in a moment. Actually, probably, at least for me, one of the most significant ones. Manual near solve fits. But there was a feature in here to add Drizzle, added Drizzle and related script. And I will show that related script as well. And I'm sure there's, I mean, for some people's workflows, I'm sure it's, yeah. I mean, a lot of it's just kind of adding a lot of new kind of resolving of objects and start file, red, full mouse, add a new keyword. Okay. Okay. Added Graxpert interface. I wonder what that's about. So let's take a look at that. Unfortunately, on this computer, I don't have the existing version of Siril. So we'll just take a look at the new version. So when you start it, you can see an unstable development version. So kids, don't try this at home. Or not that kids would necessarily be down. Well, I don't know. Maybe when I was a kid. Anyway, feel free, but don't use this. Don't rely on this for your main workflow or replace your main Siril because it might crash. And so this version is probably a few days old. This is 4.1bb, and you can actually go look at the 4.1bb 4.1bb is, maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was before the hurricane. Time has just lost all meaning. Anyway, it's a few days old, at least. Maybe even a week or two old. But let's go back to it. So one of the things I noticed is it's got this little icon here. So let me open an image. And like I say, unfortunately, I may have to run Siril on my other computer, but I don't have my other computer on the that I can share the screen. Really, I should have set it up where I could do side by side. Yeah, the same page in settings where you can set up StarManet, you can point at a Graxpert executable. You know, I think you're right, but I'm about to check that out. Actually, let's check that out right now. Now, one thing I did notice, like as far as the UI goes, if I compare this to a 1.2 instance I have off screen, the main things I noticed is kind of that I noticed were the, and I don't know if it's a Mac specific thing, but these icons seem different. This is a new one. This is the intensity profile. These seem to be the same, but I think some of them might have new functionality. But otherwise, I think these are very similar, at least on the surface. One other thing I did notice is it's got this over here, image validation tools, and image is not color managed, or image is not color management. So some color management related things. But let's first look at the settings up here. Preferences. So if I compare it, really, like I say, I should have set this up with side by side. And plus, it's slightly different because I run the Mac version and then this is the Linux version. It's the same source code, but there are going to be some little differences. So let's look at, was it miscellaneous? Miscellaneous. It doesn't, I don't see anything about Graxpert here. Oh, introduction, play intro. Oh, that had that. The old version had that. Performance. No, that's the same. Scripts. Okay. Look at this. Enable use of Siril scripts online repository. So it looks like you can just, yeah, that's cool. See, you can just pick scripts now that are checked in to the Siril scripts repository. And so I can, you can pick ones to download, which is nice, very nice. Oh, interesting. So this is new. This color management tab. This does not exist on my Linux version. So you can change your preferred color space. So sRGB, Rec 2020, which is like, I know that's used a lot for HDR. Gamut visualization. Nice. This is the classic color gamut visualization where you can see the size of the different color spaces. Which, like the human eye, they don't necessarily represent, like sRGB doesn't represent like some of these, the greens and some of the deeper colors, but like Rec 2020, you can see, uses a lot more of the color space, but this is like the classic, color space visualization. Kind of cool. If you've never run across that before, relative colorimetric. Interesting block point compensation. This looks interesting. And the fact it has output profiles, output device profiles. That sounds like something that would be kind of interesting to look into. Treat non-color managed files as sRGB. Interesting. So I guess the neat thing about this is it should allow you to, if you have, well, I don't know if it would just even be, even with like modern HDR monitors, if it would allow you to kind of more accurately represent the colors. That could be cool. That could be very useful. On stretching, auto-assigned working color space when you stretch. Interesting. So this is all new. This is all new, at least. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I did see mention of it, but like this is all new. So let's look at user interface, dark theme, font. A lot of this is similar. Although the mouse behavior is new, I think. Maybe it's a Linux thing, maybe not. But I think I did see a mention, region of interest. That is not in the old screen, the old version. Automatic from selection. Histogram display is there. Image display is there. But there's a few new things there. Analysis tools, not much there. And it's the same as before. Photometry. Looks to be about, actually this spectrophotometric calibration, this section didn't exist in the old version, at least the Mac version. I'm guessing it's new. Pre-processing looks to be the same. Astrometry looks to be about the same. World coordinate systems, general plate solving. Actually, yeah, that looks to be very similar, although I did see some stuff. Maybe there's some new options in here, but on the whole, that screen looks about the same. Fits options look to be about the same. and fits Sir.debear looks to be about the same. So there are definitely some new sections like the color management, the ability to pull scripts down from the repository directly. That's kind of nice. Of course, it makes me want to contribute some of my scripts that I've been working on to the repository so that it's more straightforward for others to use them. What other things are in here? Oh, tools. Let's see if there's... Oh, wait a second. This is new. Sorry, I totally missed that. So you have scripts and image processing in the old version, but now there's a dedicated tools menu, and you have an image analysis, statistics, noise estimation. Interesting. Now, did it do some of this before, or did it not? I'm not sure if all of this is completely new or if it was just kind of moved into a more useful location. But image plate solver under, and then photometry, create comparison star field, automatic light curves. Interesting. And here's the color management stuff, fits header, image fits header. Oh, that's cool. Did the old version have that? I don't remember if the old one had that. I'm not sure it did. But if not, that's helpful. Or wait, let me yeah. That's pretty handy. So you can look at the fits file format, so you can see that this one was done, had the IR cut filter. It's by the Seestar. You can see the CCD, the gain on the image, and all kinds of stuff like that. That's kind of helpful. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What else? Yeah, that's cool. So there's that. Let's look at what else there is. Let me go ahead and do like an auto stretch. This is an image I was processing recently. It may have even been on the last live stream. Oops. There we go. So one thing, this where you can do an intensity profile, you can color, you can kind of pick a, I'm not even sure how to use this, but you can pick kind of a vector across a line across your image, and it'll show you kind of the intensity profile. So like if I do it across this or across here, you can see kind of where it spikes in you know, red, green, blue. I haven't gotten into that functionality, so I'm not I haven't really used it. So one thing it did, I added a bunch of scripts to this version, including the AstroBBQ scripts, but it does come with this one-shot color pre-processing bare drizzle script. Let me switch to the view of, let me bring up this file. Let's see. Let's try to bring up the last file. And let's see, where was that script? I have to go look at where it was in the preferences. It is under user local share. It's since it's Linux, it's a totally different path than the Windows one. Siril scripts. Okay. Let's see. Okay, let me increase. Okay, so let me switch back, and I've got the scripts up. So these are the scripts that Siril comes with. Oops. And so here's the bare Drizzle one. I'm an enjoyer of the old Logitech. So that's one of my I won't quite call it one of my dark secrets, but I don't generally use mice. I use a lot of times trackballs. This is kind of one of the smaller ones. I like it because it has your hand just kind of sits on it like a mouse, but you don't have to move your arm, and you move the cursor just with your thumb, which the argument is your thumb is your strongest finger, so it doesn't get as tired. But the hand just kind of naturally rests on the trackball, and you're not kind of moving it around. But I have some other ones. I'll have to show them on some other stream. But I actually have like I have an even bigger trackball, one that's almost like an arcade trackball. And that the funny, I started using trackballs probably in the 90s, late 90s maybe, for computers. And yeah, they generally were Logitech trackballs. And the funny thing was I think it's because I used some of my favorite arcade games back in the 80s were the ones that had the trackball on them, like Missile Command and Centipede. And I just liked the feel of it, and kind of like, especially the bigger ones, because you can they have inertia, they have physical inertia, and I know you can simulate it in software, like kind of if you need to move the mouse across the cursor across a big screen or several screens. But there's something about the trackball where you actually have momentum with the ball, because some of them are not quite as much as like a billiard ball, I guess, like one of the smaller balls. And I actually have a replacement ball that's people replace the trackballs with like stones and stuff. Like, you can get people do crazy things with it, but I just use the default one. And I've been pretty happy. I mean, I'll use touchpads. I use touchpads, and I've used touchpads since the 90s, and trackballs, but I don't generally use mice, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, I have a good friend. Yeah, this one's actually a more recent one, because like the old ones I had stopped working. Like, I had hardwired ones. I think I might have one that it might still work, but it has like a PS2 interface on it, which shows how old that is. Actually, I have a keyboard that doesn't even have a PS2 interface. It has an AT keyboard interface, and it came with an AT to PS2 adapter, and then I added a PS2 to USB adapter. And so I will use that keyboard still, even though I could plug it into an old PC from the 1980s. Anyway, so here's the Siril script, here's the script, one of the new ones, or that come with what's going to be 1.4, and it has bare drizzling. So instead of, like, normally when you do, I think is it the convert? You have like a dash debar flag, and this script kind of mirrors what's in the interface. If you go in here, like you have the conversion calibration sequence. In here you have this debear check for the conversion, but the if you use there's a way, there's a specific workflow in the new or new logic where you don't necessarily use that. Instead you what was the specific difference? The calibration here, so you don't do the convert with the debear, but then you use this option, the CC dark. Well, no, that's if you have a dark frame, but you do CFA and equalize CFA, and then this is the same as the existing. You do that, but then you have this new option in sequence apply, and they've renamed the old drizzle because it wasn't a real drizzle to like drizzle old or old drizzle, but it's got a scaling factor, a pixel fraction. It has different kernels here. This script uses square. There's also like a Gaussian one. There's a couple other ones, and then that's basically the only difference here. You do the kind of this drizzling, and I ended up kind of creating my own variants of the script where yeah, it's on the calibrate that it would have the debear option, but now you do like this dash CFA, the CC dark and equalize CFA only apply with master flats, but in the new scheme you don't have to do debear, you do CFA, and then when you do the drizzle pass, when you're on the sequence, like this one, I did a scale of 2, pixel fraction of 2, and a kernel Gaussian, and and then the rest of the flow is the same. And I did some. Let me see if I have some of the examples on this computer. So this was the default, and this, mind you, is just doing the stacking without doing noise reduction. So this, I didn't run Grexpert through this at all. Let me see. Is that okay? Just trying to so if we look, so this is if this was the drizzle, it's the non-scaled drizzle, and if you look at kind of the detail, like in this galaxy, you can kind of see the dust lane. So let me see if the drizzle with Gaussian is any different. Unfortunately, it's not like PixInsight where you can kind of do a comparison between images. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. That said, I will, actually, I'm going to switch to my other computer where I actually have all the images, where I actually process them through Grexpert after having stacked them in this new version of Siril that has the proper drizzle functionality. So it's interesting. It's got, let's see, noise estimation, what it comes up with that. Oh, do I have to pick that? Oh, okay. Huh. It's got what other tools does it have? It has statistics. Okay, it's got the statistics with the on the image. And what other ones can we look at? Yeah, aberration inspector. Yeah, I think actually, let me see, image plate solver. Let's see, and this isn't, let's see if it, is it able to plate solve it? I guess it did. It didn't complain, or did it? No, it didn't complain. So it was able to plate solve that. Then again, this image isn't really cropped or anything. So, oh, and then we've got these image analysis, gamut and cut. I think I need to explore some of these some more because they're not, there's a lot in here having to do with color management and kind of photometry and astrometry and image analysis. And plus, this computer really wouldn't be the best one to do some of the color management stuff because this even though it's on the stream, it's also being the display is also being sent to an old 24-inch monitor, non-HD. So a lot of the color management stuff would probably be a waste on this. Oh, cool. Did the old one have that? Maybe it did. Let me see. Let me see the old version I have. It probably did have that. I'm just off screen trying to bring up the existing Leo triplet. Okay. I'm bringing up the these images and then the processed ones. I'm guessing this was something that was in the previous version, but let me see. Oh, interesting. I guess you have to plate solve it first, maybe? Let me see, plate solve. I'm trying to reproduce what I just did in this one because there is a button for it, but like this button exists on the old version. But that's handy. I think I knew it did that, but I've actually never used that feature, but I should, because it shows all the IC objects and NGC objects. Nice. Okay. Anyway, so I think that's it for what I'm going to show here. Now I'm going to switch over to the other computer. So while I do this, so it isn't kind of too janky, I'm switching back to me, and I'm going to exit out on this computer, and then I'm literally going to yank the HDMI cable out and then plug that into my other computer, and hopefully things don't go too chaotic. Okay. Oh. Cheap Astro, hey, how are you doing? Isn't kind of late there, or is it early? How are you doing? Let me see. I may have to move this computer a little bit because since the monitor's here, I'm going to be kind of going back and forth. But yeah, Cheap Astro has a YouTube channel, and okay. Wow, yeah. Cheap Astro's in Ireland, I think, if I recall correctly. It is, wow, 2:44. I hope you're up observing. But I just got done showing kind of the development version of Siril, and it has some kind of some interesting features that, to be honest, I haven't really gotten into. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Bit of a night owl. Yeah. I can be that way. I used to be more that way, I think, before I had to, yeah, I have school age kids, and so I end up, if I stay up too late, I massively regret it the next day. So I've got, why, okay. So let me switch to, so I've now switched back to my computer, and now this is back on Siril, the 1.2 point something. And I've actually brought up the same images I was starting to look at on of Leo's triplet. And this is one of the stacked files that was stacked on 1.3 or 1.4. And so I'm going to, I hate it when it's so frustrating when it does that. It's trying to help me and it isn't. So I'm going to try to bring this, oops, of course the key, that's why it throws me off, because it's meta drag to move the image around, but on Linux it's a control drag. That kind of stuff throws me all the time. So this is the image I saw, or we were looking at. This is the exact same one, the non-drizzled one, of Leo's triplet. And I was looking at this specific galaxy to see kind of the level of detail. And like I say, it was only processed only stacked, no further processing. I'm just doing an auto stretch. So if I go look at the drizzled version with the square kernel, and one thing I had noticed, and I think for this I would have to change my workflow, but let me see, let me look at this. Yeah, I'm not sure. You know what I could do? Let me just save this out as a PNG, which isn't perfect, but at least I can more easily bring it up next to each other. Oops. Let me do an auto stretch on this. And go to linear. I'm just going to do histogram, automatic, apply, and then save as PNG. And I'm going to do it to the non, okay. And I'm going to do it to the other one that wasn't drizzled. So this one, and we'll do the same thing, do the histogram transformation, apply, and then I think this is the only way I can do what I want to do. See, this is where, again, PixInsight, you can get all fancy and load up two different images and kind of have them next to each other and kind of zoom in and keep things synchronized. But we're not running that now. So let's go. We're on M13. Oh no, Leo triplet. Sorry. And so, okay, I'm just bringing up the one PNG. I have a bunch of other PDFs I need to close down. Okay, and then bring up this one. Okay, and so we can bring up these two. And which is which? So I'm going to hide Siril. So this one is the one on the left is the non-drizzled one that was stacked in 1.3. and the one on the right is the drizzled one that was using a square kernel. And I'm kind of curious for this particular image. Now, mind you, the massive caveat is I'm not necessarily using this correctly, but let's look at this one. And well, that does look different. So the one on the right, so theoretically they should have been processed the exact same, besides the green cast on the right, which I need to look at the settings with that, because that was one of the things I had noticed, that it was something having to do with the way the option I was picking might, kind of like when you do a stretch on, when you do a stretch and you end up, before you do a color correction, and it ends up kind of amplifying one of the colors. I think that's what happened here. It does seem a lot less noisy, the one on the right. And this is the one that was drizzled. Let me look at this one. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I saw some video where they were talking about, like, until you get to the final image, sometimes the intermediate steps are not necessarily obviously better with the drizzled version, but it definitely seems a bit different, like from a noise point of view. And this might not be the best example, but it's the main one that I've done. Now, I did then yeah, I agree. I'm really struggling to see any difference in detail. There is a color shift. And it's hard to tell if the noise is different or if it's just because the noise is color shifted. But I had seen some video where somebody was like processing it, and the one thing I did notice is, let me see, the AstroBBQ script ended up yeah, I ended up, let me look at the ones where I ended up processing them more. Actually, I mean, let me do that on this. This is the non-drizzled version. Let me remove, I'll remove green noise from both of them. Okay, and save this to the PNG, save, replace, and then I'll open the other one that I had done, the square one, and I'll reprocess that. And then I'll apply, close, green noise, apply, close, save, PNG, replace, and let's see if preview just pulls up the latest version. Yeah, it did. What do you know? So let me zoom in here. I mean, it does seem a little less noisy. Trying to get it about the same size, but it does seem less noisy, at least on this monitor. Maybe it doesn't on YouTube, but on this monitor it looks a little less noisy. The drizzled one. But that said, when I went ahead and again, I might not know what I'm doing, but what I did is I took the drizzled one and I ran it through the AstroBBQ script. And like, I think I may have done things in, I may have needed to do things in a different order. Because, or I need to try it without Graxpert, because I ran it through the AstroBBQ script and I did some color saturation, but there's like this noise here. Whereas I know on the non-drizzled version, the background would be smoother. But again, I might need to just redo the steps, but it wasn't too bad. But unfortunately, do I have one? Do I have one? Oh no, this is the one that's not drizzled. Is this the one that was drizzled? Let me close some of these. I'm getting too many windows up here. So let me pull up. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Interesting. This is the non-drizzled version. I take it back. This had some weird artifacts on it, and this is the drizzled version that was just run, again, not any high level of processing. I just ran it through the AstroBBQ scripts. The one on the right is drizzled. The one on the left is not. Yeah, I don't know. I need to play around with it a bit more, trying to get it to the same scale. There is kind of like this bluish here, and if I go look at this galaxy, I don't know. It didn't kind of jump out at me one way or another. But again, I might not know what I'm doing, so I need to work on it some more. But it is interesting, and I know some people get some really great results with drizzling, and it may just be a matter of I needed more data for this particular target. And let me see if I did any other kind of drizzle results that might be worth looking at. Let me see. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have I don't think I created. Did I create? Yeah, so these were both drizzled, and let me see if I have the undrizzled version of it. I ended up, this was M13, and I ended up having to sorry, let me have too many windows here. Let me get rid of these in the background. So this is M13, but they're both drizzled. And one of them I did the AstroBBQ script, and then I did some color saturation, and another I did another pass of GFS to try to kind of fix. Yeah, so I did it to try to bring out more stars and kind of make the background black, darker. But I'm trying to see if I actually have a version of this that isn't drizzled, that I actually turned into a. I don't think I did, but let's go do that right now. I can go process it. So I'm going to go to the M13 directory, and I'm going to open. So this is a non-drizzled one that was stacked. So I'm just going to run it through the AstroBBQ script. Oops. And with, yeah, I'll do this one. And so this is non-drizzled. And then I'll do the color saturation. And one of these other ones is just this one. This one had the extra GHS, so I'm gonna hide that one. And so we'll just do what I did on this one, which was stack, AstroBBQ, and then oh, that's why I had an issue with this one. It was interesting because the stacking was slightly different, and I thought I did a 2-pass on this one, but you can see like it's stacked differently because it doesn't even have this galaxy, this version. So maybe that's why I kind of didn't end up. Oh, wait a second. Let me look at this image. I did several different variations of that, and oh, sorry, I need to do the one with the AstroBBQ that also had Graxpert. Oof, that's rough. But let me try. Oops, let me try not auto stretching this. Sometimes the dock ends up on the wrong monitor, so let's not auto stretch it. Go back to this view and then run AstroBBQ. Yeah, and some of these targets, I mean, because I'm like Bortle 9, I get some weird kind of noise or artifacts in the background. Yeah, let's remove green noise. Maybe boost the color saturation. Maybe that. I'm just doing kind of a quick and dirty. So this was actually that. No, it was this one. But let me do PNG. No, that's not what I wanted to call it. So this was a 1x drizzle. And it was a square drizzle. And AstroBBQ color saturation, not GFS. I don't know why I call it GFS. It's GHS. Okay, I'm going to save that, and let's bring that up. Over here. Okay. Yeah. Besides the fact, that's why I ended up doing, this is why I ended up doing kind of a GFS or GHS round to try to get some of the background a bit better. It is interesting because this particular version of it has more stars. I mean, it's better, more exposed. Yeah, so the AstroBBQ scripts, they're it's from let me try to bring up the YouTube channel. It's from AstroShed, I think, is the YouTube channel. He has a bunch of scripts, and it was related. I think it was kind of a play on this. I forget what it was called, but it was somebody had some online processing that used PixInsight, but like you didn't have to have PixInsight. You'd upload the photo and it would process it. And of course, they told the person to cut it out. So I think someone else came up with this AstroBBQ. I think it was someone else, maybe not. Let me look at the. But basically, it theoretically is compatible. I mean, it's oh, come on. you kidding me? Hold on a second. YouTube's being silly. I guess it didn't like how I was doing the it didn't like how I was doing switching between tabs, and now it wants me to log in again, which is weird. Let me see. Are you kidding me? Why is it logging me out? Okay. Just that. I guess it doesn't like having multiple tabs open with this particular browser. Very strange. Anyway, let me switch to this. Let me, in case I have to enter a password. AstroShed. Was it AstroShed? No. It wasn't AstroBBQ. No, Deep Sky Shed. My mistake. Deep Sky Shed. So it was here's the link to the person who did it. And yeah, for quick processing they give decent results. And yeah. One thing though I have going back to this where yeah, they were both basically both were stacked using the new version of Siril, with the one on the right has a 2x drizzle. But these are, they're not necessarily apples to apples, so I think I need to do another pass through them, because I was starting to get some results that made me think I wasn't doing the exact same steps. And so like the reproducibility was seemed a little off. Yeah, you're welcome, Chief Astro. But they are handy. And I imagine they're even better if you have less light pollution. Yeah, this one, like based on how some of these stars, how big they are, I think this one it's pushed it more. But yeah, I think the Drizzle functionality kind of, it looks interesting. I think I need to spend more time with it. Definitely some of the color calibration stuff looks interesting as well. And some of the other analysis functionality is kind of cool. And definitely shows some promise for processing. But I think I really didn't have much else besides that today. I do have some videos I need to work on at some point, but yeah, I mean, so Siril, it's the new version's coming along. I don't know when they're planning on releasing the latest version. So Wiley Sites, are you talking about the new getting the import export of into the Seestar, the new Seestar web interface, or the relatively recent web interface? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So Wiley Site had added the ability to do offline mode, where, like I said earlier, where you could where you can add items to the schedule for the Seestar, but one of the requested features is to be able to take like a CSV file and where you're not even necessarily running the software. You just kind of come up with a list of targets and then load it into the software. And it also could into the interface, and it also could be useful if you're imaging, if like you're doing a mosaic over several nights, you can load up your, mosaic, your list of targets. Maybe you have a few targets that you need to image over a series of nights. It would let you kind of build that schedule and then just load it, run it, multiple days in a row. So I think I'm looking forward to that one personally, because my sky is so constrained. There's certain targets that I can only image for like 45 minutes between two buildings. Some I can image for up to an hour and a half or 2 hours. But if it's some faint deep sky object, I need to image it over multiple nights. Like this image of M13. I mean, it's the same image. It just was processed differently. Like this was, it's not a crazy amount of data. I think it's like an hour and a half or something of data, but I think I had to do it because I was dealing with a lot of field rotation and a high rejection rate. I think to get that hour and a half was over more than one night. And then there's some other targets where I have like, 5 hours or more. But when you're only kind of doing it, when you can only image it for an hour and a half and you're getting like 50% frame rejection because of the field rotation and bad seeing, it can take quite a few days to accumulate several hours for specific targets. But some of these I need to end up doing a lot more as well, like hours more. But I am looking forward to that, the ability to import and export. And plus, it's a nice safety mechanism too. Like if you accidentally restart the software, it won't, you don't lose your schedule, or you can save it. And then if you have to, and actually, you could build your schedule on one computer, save it out, and then like if you have a Raspberry Pi, then load it up onto the Raspberry Pi. That would work too. Like if you had two versions of the software running, like one on your computer and one on like a laptop. But yeah, I think that's all I have for tonight. Unless anybody else wants to bring up anything. I think that's it. Oh yeah, I need to, I'll put it in the description, but I had mentioned this previously that I want to start not promoting, but like I hadn't really publicized the Discord server much. Like I would mention occasionally in comments, but I'm going to start putting it on the description. So there's a Discord server, and mostly we talk about Seestar related stuff, but also like some Siril stuff I want to talk about more, related to kind of some of these things, both new functionality and just testing out third-party scripts from people. Yeah, so sounds good. But yeah, I think I will leave it at that for tonight. Yeah, so thanks for joining. Thanks for watching, and do the proverbial like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help, and I will see you. I'm just double checking that and I'll see you in the and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Have a good evening or good morning, wherever you are.